Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Top Sports Game Day. This show is, of course, brought to you by BetUS. It is Week 8, and again, we have another fantastic week of football games. We got Alabama versus Tennessee. We got Georgia versus Texas, which everybody is talking about. And then we've got Kentucky, the Wildcats at Florida, 7:45 p.m. kickoff. Should be a great one. We have essentially what is the Hardy Brothers of YouTube today, boys and girls, okay? We've got the Great Brothers here with us.
The Hardy Boys?
The Hardy boys!
That's the best you could come up with. I mean, is that good?
Hey, they're my favorite. They're my favorite. So
goodness gracious.
It's a compliment coming from me. It's a compliment coming from me. We got Jake Crane. Is Blaine gonna hop in, or are you just gonna be Blaine for this?
Yeah, no, Blaine's right here behind me. He's just waiting his turn to talk Bama. He's right here. You can see him. Yeah, there he goes behind me.
Hold on, walk back like okay. All right, Blaine's gonna talk about Alabama, and then we're gonna have, of course, Cowboy the Red X tie to be talking about old Kentucky. Boys and girls,
I liked it so much.
Let's have ourselves a fantastic show. Let's hop into the first game of the day, Texas versus Georgia with Mr. Jake Crane. Jake, how are we feeling about the big-time matchup, 1 versus 5 with Georgia today?
Well, yeah, something we talked about all week. It's like a Freaky Friday situation a little bit. Texas is really good at the things that they were kind of used to seeing Georgia do really well, and when you look at both of these offenses, Sark always wants to run the pass. Most of them do, like Lincoln Riley does, like Josh Heupel does, like Lane Kiffin does. But the versatility of Texas's offense kind of reminds you of what Georgia had with Stetson Bennett and with Ladd and with Brock. I mean, even last year, at most points offensively, being able to be explosive, but then on the defensive side, having guys that could turn a game that was 17-14 in your favor. So, if I'm Georgia, if I'm a Georgia fan, the things that worry me a little bit are Texas is pretty damn good at running the ball, and if we can't stop the run, Sark's going to dial us up multiple times in this game, and they'll stay on schedule. And then 2 is, can we run the ball? I look at this Texas front 7, and yes, I know Michigan couldn't throw it, and Oklahoma couldn't throw it, but they were able to dominate on the line of scrimmage, and they have depth. So I think Texas is a little bit more like Georgia has been, and Georgia's a little bit more like Texas had been when it comes to philosophically and the physicality at the line of scrimmage.
Jake, with bars this morning, we were talking before the show, like you just kind of were just illustrating, is that Georgia doesn't have a guy at every single corner like Texas does. And we're kind of waiting for Georgia to kind of come out of this. And this game is leading up to make me feel that everyone's counting Georgia out. Everyone's counting Texas to be the guy. And we're kind of waiting for Georgia to be what Georgia has been for the last 3 years, kind of go back into that, what Bama used to be, but Saban's obviously gone. Can Kirby get back into that? Because just remind anybody, outside of that Bama loss just 2 weeks ago, they hadn't lost since 2020 to Florida in the regular season, and the only time they have lost is to Alabama. So this is going to be a weird place for Georgia if they are to drop this one. I do want to get your thoughts, though. Who will be your X-Factor guy for Texas today that really stands out? Like you just mentioned, there are tons of them.
Well, to me, the obvious answer is Quinn Ewers or one of the guys at the skill position. I'm going to go a unit. I'm going to go the offensive line. I think this game is going to come down to can Texas run the ball consistently or not, because if they can run the ball consistently, they're going to control the clock, which as good as Georgia is, and it's something we talked about before, was that this Georgia team's really good, but they don't have that elite guy on either side of the ball. I like Carson Beck a lot, but as far as being a quarterback, there's only certain things that he can do. There's not really a Ladd McConkey or a Brock Bowers. There's some really good players, but then defensively, it's the same situation. Outside of Malachi Starks, there's no Jalen Carter really or Jordan Davis. It's a top 5 roster in college football, but it's not this. They got the Avengers. They just don't have the best ones, right? Like, there's the Hulk and then there's Hawkeye. I think we know which one we'd rather have, but they just got a lot of Hawkeyes.
They're like the Ant-Man version. You got the Ant-Man, the Wasp, a couple of those guys. I mean, they're fun, they're exciting, but nobody to really get it done for them. And I think you kind of nailed on the head is that you're usually a guy that Carson Beck or these guys could go to. They could lean on. Carson hasn't really been the guy they can lean on, right? To where he's the guy they go to throw, like he's throwing the football, but a wider receiver that kind of pulls out a Brock Bowers or a Ladd. Even the running back room hasn't really, Trevor Etienne hasn't really stood out and been, I thought, what they anticipated him to be coming from Florida. Clearly the line at Florida just must be much better than what Georgia's putting on the football field.
Well, yeah, when Georgia had success against Alabama in that second half, they were going up tempo. It took a lot of the thinking out of it. They were able to hit explosive plays that really we hadn't seen all year, including the Clemson game. I know they beat them to death, but it wasn't like they were hitting chunk play after chunk play. The dam just kind of broke for Clemson towards the middle and then the end of the second half there, and they pulled away. So that's why immediately after that Alabama game, we talked about it on our Sunday recap. Don't be shocked if Georgia turns into an up-tempo team, especially early in games. And they did it against Auburn, and it worked, right? I didn't see it as much against Mississippi State. Maybe they didn't want to show Texas that because they thought they could just outclass Mississippi State, which they were better at the end of the day. But playing this Texas team, do not be shocked at all if Georgia comes out and goes up-tempo early. To try and hit some of those chunk plays and put some game pressure on Texas because, yeah, we can talk about Texas, and that's great, but they haven't really had a ton of game pressure this year like Georgia already has, which is a big advantage. But, I mean, Texas does have veteran guys, too. This isn't their first day at the lemonade stand.
Let me some hook on that's my biggest argument this past week is who they haven't really been battle tested like Georgia has, and even outside of that Bama game, can we argue that is Bama a true battle tested going and losing to Vandy, struggling against South Carolina? I mean, how much of this is really battle tested? But they've been in bigger games and bigger moments thus far. You said at the beginning of the show you like Texas here. Georgia on BetUS is a 5-point underdog. Give me your score prediction for the game here.
Well, it would not shock me at all if Georgia came out and scored first. And Texas is a team that's not going to panic even if that happens. I think Sark is going to try and run it as much as possible early just to set the tone and kind of set the mood as we were talking about who the more physical team is. And typically that's what Kirby and whoever is calling his plays, including Mike Bobo, want to do. But eventually over 4 quarters, I think this Texas team to me from a complementary football 3-phase standpoint, offense, defense, and special teams, I think gravity is a real thing. And over 4 quarters, I think Texas is going to find a way to win this game. If I had to give you an exact score, I would say 34-27 Texas.
I love it. 2 weeks in a row now as a Florida fan. I've got to quad box this. I had Ohio State, Oregon last week, right in the middle of the Florida game, and LSU, Ole Miss, and now I have this game. It's torture over here. Well, Jake, I appreciate you. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to go back to me so you and Blaine can flip seats here. You guys can do a little quick behind the scenes, and then we'll get into Alabama talk with Blaine. Appreciate it, Jake. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, that's Drake Crane with Crane and Company. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. This show is, of course, brought to you by BetUS today. Now we're going to talk a little Alabama football against Tennessee. Tennessee, in my opinion, does not look like a top 10 team, although they are ranked 11th. Can Bama go in there and get back to the Bama ways and handle their business with Tennessee? Or can Nico and the boys get back to what we saw those first few weeks and start putting up a lot of points? We've got Blaine Crane here to talk all things Alabama football against the Vols. Blaine, pleasure. Nice to meet you.
You too, my brother. How's everything going this fine, beautiful Saturday?
It is going fantastic. It's another great Saturday. Appreciate you getting all showered up and cleaned up. You smell fantastic. You look good.
Just for you, man. I could get on here and not just look my best.
I appreciate it, man. Well, you're going to talk about Alabama football today, man. They haven't really looked the Alabama of old and haven't bounced back like the Alabama of old. What are your thoughts on this game against Tennessee, and will they bounce back like the Alabama old this week?
I think they will, and to be honest with you, what my brother said earlier, the Freaky Friday, I think goes well with this game too. I mean, we're used to seeing an Alabama team that shows up on defense for year after year after year. That's not this year in the Tennessee offense. You can trust to get down the field, tempo, no matter what it is, and they don't have that this year. If I'm laying anything in this game, it's Alabama money line, and I love the under. It's at 56.5, and you can bet that up and still get really good odds. I mean, I don't know what about this Tennessee team offensively would impress you to think they could drop 56 points. And I know Alabama's not the same team on defense, but let's not act like the personnel is still not NFL players running around. It's an interesting game. I know it's at Tennessee, but the more I look at it, the more I like Alabama.
I think with how much talk there has been about the lackluster of defense and secondary in Alabama, again, the talent is there. It's just been they've been torched schematically is what everyone's been saying all week. You got to think DeBoer and Saban maybe made a phone call of like, hey, you got to lock it in. You're giving us a bad look.
Yeah, you're starting to piss me off. When you start to piss Nick Saban off, then real things start moving that you didn't see coming. But I mean, you really look at it, and if you're a Tennessee fan right now, what do you feel good about offensively? I mean, Nico, all the pressure on the world was on Nico when the season started, and I get that. I mean, he was the best thing since walked on water. But sooner or later, he's going to have to go win you a football game. In the last 3 weeks, so even if they've won 2, he hasn't done that yet. So if anything, this could be a bounce back game for the Alabama defense against this Tennessee offense.
I don't know if they won last week. I think Florida gave it away to him. Could we see a possible Nick Saban, Connor Stallions on the sideline this weekend? Should we be watching closely for him to leave the Saturday game day show early?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised if Rick Saban showed up on the sideline for Alabama today. With a mustache and maybe a little height, make him a 6'1" or 6'2". Look, if you this is almost a must win. I mean, if you're DeBoer, because you followed the great one, okay, and you lost to Vanderbilt, and I know that's a different Vanderbilt team. But, I mean, the fattest girl at the dance turns you down, basically, and you have to bounce back somehow.
You got to figure it out. We're going to talk about DeBoer a little bit later on, but give me your X factor for Bama tonight.
I mean, it's Ryan Williams. I think he was lackluster in the last couple of weeks, but I think he's going to show up in a big way today. I mean, the kid shows up in the biggest moments. Would we be surprised? Jalen's going to do him, and I think Tennessee's defense is going to play well. But when you need that one guy to make the difference, who's that been for Alabama? That's been Ryan, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's him today.
So they can go ahead and put that nail in the coffin and pull away. I like Bama by double scores here. I just think after watching Tennessee last week, I don't think, like you said, they have the offense to keep up. I think defensively they'll keep it in. It's kind of be like what that FSU team was last year without Jordan Travis. They'll hold you to it for so long, but this offense on Alabama, that is one thing that DeBoer is specialized in, is getting that ball moving, and I don't think Tennessee will be able to keep up. Well, Blaine, give me your final score prediction for this game. And don't go anywhere because, of course, we got to have you for the end of the show where you and your brother switch mics.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be 27-17, the Crimson Tide roll, man.
I love it. Roll Tide roll. Blaine, pleasure. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly with you, man. Appreciate you, boys and girls. Again, this show is brought to you by BetUS, and I'm on a burner. I told you last week if I wasn't going to be hot and rolling that we would bring Tyler back, but I went 3 for 3 last week. Daddy is back, and Tyler even dressed for the occasion, which I appreciate it. So here we go. The 3-week parlay, when you go to betus.com and use the code YouTube150, you get back 150% on your first deposit and then $125 on your next 2, up to $2,000. Just giving money away, and not only are they giving you money, but I'm giving you wins right here so you can double down today. The 3-leg parlay. We got Alabama -3. I said I like them by 2 touchdowns. Blaine likes them by 10. It's a no-brainer. They're going to pull away at the end. It could be close first half. Don't panic. Bama gets it done at the end. K-State, -2.5 against West Virginia. I don't know what it is with Vegas and West Virginia. Maybe they got some blackmail on them, but they keep giving these crazy lines. It was the same thing for Iowa State. Iowa State skull-dragged them by 20 points. Disrespecting Kansas State here. They came off a big win against Colorado last week. I think they handled their business against West Virginia. No problem. Then we got Illinois, Michigan. I slept on this one for a minute. I love me some Luke Altmaier. +4. They're giving the fight in Illinois for at home against a one-trick pony in Michigan. I think Illinois has been battle-tested with Penn State. I like the fact they're giving them +4. I almost wanted to take money line, but I said, look, they're giving us +4. Let's go ahead and take it. That is the 3-leg parlay for the week. Hopefully I can keep this trend rolling, and we'll keep Tyler with the red X on his face. If not, if I don't get it this week, we'll allow him back in next week. And speaking of Tyler, representing the Kentucky Wildcats, Cowboy Ty, not here. He quit on us. I'm just kidding. We're bringing him here. Cowboy Ty. Look at this.
Listen, it looks so good that I just had to try it. I just wanted to see.
It does. It like, hey, can you just like lean out of the screen just a little bit to kind of like, perfect. Now he looks like you look exactly like the cartoon. Dial it in there. We're talking Kentucky, Florida, man. Kentucky's got 3 in a row on Florida, 2 on Billy. This would be if Billy were to drop this one, 3 in a row on Napier, going defeated against the Kentucky Wildcats at his time here. Give me your thoughts on this game and why you like the Wildcats today.
Yeah, every time I look at Kentucky, I see that like they play defense and they want to run the football. And when you can do those things and you do it successfully, you're always going to have a chance to win in football games, just like they played against Georgia. They did that well against Georgia. It was a 13-12 game. They kept it low, and that's what they're trying to do. They want to keep the score low. I think the running pass ratio is roughly like 60-40 run, something like that. And then like once again, I just think the defense on the other side of the football, but if they can't stop Montreal Johnson, it could be a problem because Florida's also going to have to run the ball. But now it's DJ Lagway's time. He has nobody looking over his shoulder. Graham Mertz is done. Like, now we're going to see, because this is the future of Florida football. So if DJ, he knows he's the guy now, and he's going to be the guy for years to come. So if I'm interested to see how he does with nobody. He knows he's the guy. No one's coming in. They're going to have to protect him. They're going to have to limit his mistakes, and running the football will do that. We know he's electric, but he's got to stop with you can't make turnovers. I think he has 4 picks on the year. You can't make turnovers. So that's how you win in football games. It's going to be very interesting. I'm very excited to watch the game, actually.
Montreal Johnson, I believe, is out for today. So I think we're going to be looking at
I didn't see
Treyon
that.
Webb.
I did not see that.
Yeah, Treyon Webb, Montreal, and
Well,
Joey
then it's going to be
Jackson.
a combination of Webb. Yeah, they're going to have a combo running. I did not know Montreal was out there. I did not see that.
He obviously coming off that knee injury. But look, here's my thing. On paper, Kentucky hasn't looked extremely sexy. And you look at these numbers here, they haven't really knocked anybody's socks off, but they played well against teams that they shouldn't have played well with. They held Georgia close, probably could have couple of better decisions. They win that game. They take down Ole Miss. Though their resume is what concerns me. Going into this game with a freshman quarterback for the Florida Gators and DJ Lagway, I expect Kentucky to bring a lot of pressure, and we're going to play into their strengths. And like you just said, DJ Lagway has been throwing 4 picks on the year. I expect him to probably throw 1 or 2 today, just given the freshman's mistakes and the fact that he likes to sling it up there and try to poke into a hole.
I mean, Kentucky plays almost like what we call ugly football. Like they want to win ugly. Doesn't ever look pretty. It's never going to get you on the highlight screen, but they want to grind you out and just win ugly with defense and running the football. That's how Kentucky's always wanted to play, and that's Mark Stoops' kind of style.
Absolutely. Now, even though you're high on this defense, your playmaker, your X factor for today is on the other side of the ball. Talk about him.
Yeah, so him and Vandergriff have gotten a nice rhythm going over the last couple weeks. Dane Key is very, very good at understanding defenses, and by that I mean like he understands when they're in man-to-man, and he knows to continue his route, and he sees zone. He recognizes it very well. So when he's in the zone, he literally sits down right in the pocket, and he's a very, very good possession receiver. Doesn't drop hardly any footballs. I think that when they're not running the ball well, they're going to go to Key. They also got another guy, Berrien, but Key is their guy because he's the smartest receiver on the field, and that's what you need when you're a running football team. You've got to have one guy who understands coverages, and him and the quarterback are on the same page so that they can find each other and they know where each other's going to be. I think that is a key factor. Another guy I like today is I got another guy like Jay Weaver. This guy, I did some research on this guy because I know he's a big top NFL prospect. He's like 6'5", 255, very athletic. But he also has 6 fingers. I don't even know if that's fair. I think Florida should get an extra point for that. I don't know. Like, this guy coming off the end with 6 fingers got to have some kind of extra leverage against you guys. I don't know. It seems a little unfair to me.
The spread should adjust accordingly based on those things if that is the case. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Look, this game was in favor of Florida earlier on in the week, and then with Graham Mertz going down, that spread has changed where Kentucky now is the favorite, I think, by +1, 2. It's been bumping back and forth for the last couple of days. Give me your thoughts on this game with the score prediction, and do the Gators cover, or do you like Kentucky here?
I mean, honestly, I could go either way on this game. I would never bet this game because I could definitely see it going both ways. Like, if Kentucky can't control the clock and they have to become a throwing football team, I don't think they're going to be successful. I think Florida could win by 10 points, but if they're able to run the football, they're able to do those things, I could see it going the other way. I think we're just going to have a very, very close game. We might even see another overtime game for Florida. That's very, very possible. I'm going to take Stoops just because I think Napier will make one too many stupid mistakes coaching. That's the only reason I'll take Kentucky in this spot. I think coaching is going to be a big factor this week.
Okay, really just soaking it in. I love the tape. I'm just looking at it. I can't believe you had red tape there, ready to rock and roll today. I love it. Well, that's Cowboy Ty. Now we're gonna head into the high top game day sports talk, table talk part of the show, and we're gonna get everyone back into it. So I'll see you in just a minute, Ty. I lost the intro for that. That intro was not there, which we thought the other intro wasn't. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I'll explain the rules for anybody that is new here. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe. This High Top Table Talk where we ask 3 questions. Everyone has a chance to go first. They get 45 seconds to give me their best answer. I give a point based on their answer. It is extremely biased. Whatever I feel is the best, you can just completely lie, but if it sounds good and it makes me feel good, you will get extra points. Everybody knows the rules. Can Blaine hear the rules? Does he know these things, or are you going to just keep that from him? Oh, wait. You're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, uncensor me. No, he's literally sitting right here. I was just gonna have him hop in here after I answered, and just tell him the question while he answers. If that'll work.
Okay. All right. Well, as long I want him to know the rules that if he plays favorites, that those
Yeah,
are
like
beneficial
what?
to
All
him.
right, I'll tell him the rules.
Seeing the
There
same
are
guy in
no
the 2
rules.
circles above me is very intimidating.
Well, it's Jake and Blaine, but it's just Jake
Yeah.
and Jake, and then it's gonna be Blaine and Blaine. So you gotta just
Listen, it's getting weird.
it's Freaky Friday at its finest. All right, first
Yeah, it
question on the board. Jake will go first, then Tyler, then
All right,
Blaine will go last, and I'll give you 45 seconds on the clock. We are in shambles. Here we go. Who is more likely to upset today? Nebraska over Indiana, Auburn over Mizzou, or Louisville over Miami? All around 5 and 6 point underdogs, so it's a fairly even matchup if you ask Vegas. That was our reason for going for this game. Jake, you've got 45 seconds. Who's more likely to upset?
Man, I'm gonna go Louisville here, actually, which would be the biggest upset. I think, and again, anybody can the underdog could win any of those games you just showed me. But when I look at this Miami defense, they run a lot of man coverage. They don't run a lot of zone, and they're kind of losing the same way defensively to keep other teams in games. And eventually, that offense, and Louisville's defense is good enough to do it, isn't going to be operating on all cylinders. There was nights where the Warriors couldn't hit 3-pointers. And when that happens, are you going to be able to win the game? So until Miami's able to get out of this man coverage or get to the quarterback quicker to be able to disguise it and then run 2-man on third and passing, teams are going to continue to have success against them. And as far as Auburn goes, I don't trust them to win a big game. And Indiana, Kurt Cignetti right now, he's making Indiana cool again.
He is definitely making Indiana cool. I tweeted out, said SEC or
He's like the cooler Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Cowboy Ty, I'm going to mute you, Jake, while you explain all the rules to Blade. Cowboy Ty, who's more likely to get the upset today?
Yeah, so I really do like what Indiana's doing, but I do think that Nebraska has got the best chance to pull an upset today. And the reason we've been talked about Nebraska a lot on this show, and you know that. I love what they do defensively, and I think Dylan Raiola, once again, he's a freshman, but he's just starting to become more and more comfortable. And I think that they could go in there and are we really sure that Indiana's this good? I mean, I'm not. So I haven't really played anybody. I'm ready to watch them play a team today. And I think the black shirts are going to get after them. And I think they're going to pull the upset. Plus 6.5. Book it. I want this red X off my face.
I love it. Go Big Red. I love both these teams. I love the Indiana story, and I love how Nebraska is starting to find a little bit of a tempo and find an identity here. It's cool. It's sexy for college football for Nebraska to be good. Did you get the question, Blaine? Did he tell you what it was?
No, he didn't, but I'm guessing out of those teams that you showed on the screen, who's on upset alert, who I think the most close is on upset alert.
Which of those three? Yep.
Okay, look, first, I
points.
like Nebraska. I mean, who has Indiana really played that we're impressed with? Kurt Cignetti, Mom Spaghetti, sooner or later has to lose a football game. And I think Dylan Raiola and this Nebraska defense is good enough to take them into the fourth quarter, even if it's on the road. I mean, you're laying 6.5, 5.5. The quarterback can be the difference in this game. And then you go to the Auburn game. I mean, look, sooner or later, I know as an Auburn fan that I am, but the iceberg you can always see in front of you. But sometimes, all right, maybe in a different universe, the Titanic didn't just sink and everybody died. Maybe some people lived, all right? Maybe some other people got on the door with me. So maybe Auburn can beat a Missouri team that got absolutely pantsed in front of everybody at the middle school and concession stand against Texas A&M last week. And then Louisville, Jeff Brom, Mr. Two-Faced, never doubt him.
Acapella, I love it. Jake's in for one. I didn't realize we were bringing Jake. He was over here just ripping everybody up. He's been practicing with you, Blake. We should have been bringing you in. You didn't even know the question.
Yeah, I know. I tell everybody
that.
No one believes me.
All right, don't go anywhere, Blake, because you're going to be second after Tyler, so you'll get this question. No, you stay there. You stay there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Jake will go. This is a blast. This little carousel we got going on. It's fantastic. All right, Ty, you're up first on this one here, big guy. We've got Kaylin DeBoer How hot does this man's seat get today if he falls down in Rocky Top? Is it boiling, or does he still have a chance? Ty?
No, I mean, you can't judge a guy coming into a system that he's taking over for a Hall of Famer this early in his career. I mean, that's just completely unfair. I mean, I understand they have not looked like the Alabama of old, and they're not going to. I mean, this is a new system. It's a new coaching staff. It's a new everything. So, like, he don't even have guys he recruited. He does have NFL talent, but he's taking over someone else's recruits. I'm not saying that. I don't think it's a good look, but I'm just saying that Kaylin Moore's seat doesn't get super hot this early in his career. If he loses 3 or 4 games, Alabama's going to be calling for his head. But I don't think they're going to lose today. But even if he does, I think they're fine. Like, give him a couple years. I think every coach deserves 3 in a new system and a new area. I just believe that.
Blaine?
Well, I think everything Nick Saban did, all those national championships, Kalen DeBoer is doing their best to ruin that in 1 week. You lost to Vanderbilt. People will never forget that. They'll never forget it. Look, I know Vanderbilt's a different team, but I mean, you're Steven Glansberg. You're sitting by yourself and you're eating pudding, and everybody's pointing and laughing. I mean, so if you can't win with Nick Saban's guys, look, buddy, it's going to be trouble. It's not going to get better from here. So he needs to win this football game. I think they're a better team than Tennessee, even if it's on the road, and they need to look somewhat good doing it. Because trust me, if there's ever a fan base who its Russian planes don't crash, it's that fan base down there in Tuscaloosa.
I love Blaine is dialed in today. I love it. We'll let the rotation happen with Jake, and then Blaine, you're hopping right back in. This is great. I love it. Ty bringing all the smoke.
Oh my God, I'm just losing my mind over there laughing.
You've been keeping Blaine in the closet, kept away from us, sheltered. Like what?
He's look. It's like going to the zoo. It's fun to see the giraffes and the lions once every once in a while, but every day, eventually something bad's gonna happen.
All right, you're the main attraction. Everyone goes back to you, but it's fun. It's fun to pet them, but eventually they're gonna bite. I got it. It goes.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, somebody forgot to close the gate. Now everybody in the city's scared.
0 flags. On
Yeah,
YouTube.
2 people are dead at Sonic.
0 flags on YouTube.
Yeah.
Who's the bigger brother? Is it you?
What do you mean? In what way?
By age, but just like.
By age, I'm the older one.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, physically, he's a little taller than me, but mentally, he's weaker.
Okay, all right. I love it. All right, did you get the question? Did he pass it to you?
I saw I saw the graphic of Kaylin DeBoer that said how hot. So I'm I got 2 guesses of what it could be, but one of what I know it is. Look, when you coach at a place like Alabama, the standard and expectations always going to be so high. But after Nick Saban, returned the golden bars back to the city like he did at Alabama from the Bear Bryant days, the standards shouldn't drop. But I'm telling you right now, they don't have a lot of patience. And again, Blaine referenced the Soviet Union. He's exactly right. But I think he needs more time. You look at the way they're recruiting right now, it's still going pretty good. But as far as monopolizing a team, I don't think you can do that like Nick Saban did anymore. And like Kirby Smart was kind of doing at Georgia with these new rules. Remember, looking at Alabama bleed is crazy. Seeing them be mortal is crazy if you're close to our age. Because all we did was watch them for years and years and years just beat people and bully people to death with a billy club up front. And now they're muggles.
I like that little line there. All right, Blaine's got to go first. I need quick rotation.
All right, Blaine, here we go. Back in the lines then.
They're muggles.
Yeah, Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
I feel like
I
I'm
feel-
over here. I'm all messed up over here.
Oh, dude, this isn't fair. You never had a chance today, Cowboy Ty. I'm gonna be completely transparent, dude. These guys are gonna try to out reference each other. It's incredible. Like it's like, you're pulling out the Muggles reference. Hold my beer. You know what I mean? Like this is unbelievable. We're in for a class. This is a treat. Hey, Blaine, you back?
This is great.
Oh, never left.
All right, last question here on the board. I got to read a quote. This is going to be horrible for Jake because he's not going to hear the quote. He's just going to see the graphic and have no clue what I'm talking about here. Anyways, he goes, what? We know that Kirby got a little feisty on the sidelines with a player from Mississippi State this past Saturday. Mark Ingram had something to say. So this is a 2-part question. He said the SEC lucky there wasn't an ass whooping, Ingram said. I know Kirby perfectly. He was my defensive coordinator when I was at Alabama, and he knows if he would have touched any one of us alphas like that, then he would have been squared up on. If he would have tried to push Ronaldo McClain, Courtney Upshaw, them cats that, me, like Julio Jones, like I would have been trying to get Kirby. I would have been trying to get Kirby. Now it was on their sideline, so I don't know if it would have been able to get him, but I'm damn sure we would have tried. Kirby knows what would have went down. That's somebody's child, man. Cap or fact that Mark Ingram would have went down with it? And should Kirby be suspended, or is it what happened on the field happened on the field? It's a big one.
I'd say fact. Look, a couple things here. All right. One, I don't think Mark Ingram would have hit him. I think it probably mostly everybody else on that Alabama team would have. Okay. If it's Rolando McClain, yeah, you're punched in the face. Julio Jones, yeah, you're punched in the face. Mark Ingram, I don't know. Mark Ingram's like a little kid to me. You know, he's 5'8" and 240 pounds. Yeah, he could probably rip my arms off, but if I saw him, I'd probably be like, oh man, that kid looks like he's in middle school. So everybody else, yeah. Did Kirby do it on purpose? 100%. 100%. And he did it to the quarterback. If there's ever a guy to do it to, it's him, right? If I'm ever, there's a difference. If you've ever been in that little weird time before a fight starts, right? That's how it looks.
That's true. Dial it in. I love it, Blake. Good stuff.
This is about Kirby.
Yeah. Should Mark Ingram and Kirby Smart fight?
I mean, these guys are sharing notes over here. How do I compete with sharing notes?
He goes, yeah, should Kirby and Ingram fight? That was not the question. That was not the question. He goes, yeah, should Kirby and
What was the actual question?
Yeah, it's a two-parter. It's a two-parter, Jake. So the question was, Mark Ingram in an interview said the SEC lucky there wasn't an ass whooping. I know Kirby perfectly. He was my defensive coordinator and when I was at Alabama, and if he would have touched any of us alphas like that, then he would have been squared up on. If he would have tried to push McClain, Courtney Upshaw, them cats like that, me, Julio, like that, I would have been trying to get at Kirby. So the question is, fact or cap, and, which Blaine did not answer, should he be suspended for what happened?
I believe him. I disagree with Blaine. I think Mark Ingram, just watch the way he ran the ball. He wasn't exactly a speedster. He was fast enough. He was fast enough and physical. He was a good pass protector too. That Alabama team was different. Like if you watch the documentaries on him and you remember who was on that team, that wasn't just a different level of athlete. That was a different level of commitment. That was a different level of discipline. That's one of the reasons why Nick Saban is the greatest college football coach of all time, because he could get talented players like that to play disciplined, unlike any other coach has been able to do, which is why he was able to build a dynasty and monopolize the sport. But again, like I said earlier, I don't think you could. Now, should he be suspended? I don't think so. I don't think he really meant to do it on purpose. But that's one of those things where, like, you hit my guy in baseball, we got to hit you back. Like, now I got to hit you. I don't not dislike you, but now I've got to hit you.
Blade's bringing out all the punches today, Jake.
I disagreed with him, and then he said, I'll kick your ass.
This is incredible. This
right
is a treat.
here.
We're spoiled. I mean, you're not getting this on iTalk. You're right here. Do it. Fact or cap? Cowboy Ty, good luck.
Yeah, I mean, the hell with Tyson and Paul. Let's just see Ingram Smart. How about that? Let's see that boxing match. And I can assure you Smart would be laying on the ground. But let's talk about what Kirby did. Kirby, 100%, I think he did it on purpose, and I think he did it in a way where he was like, oh, I was going at the ref. But he threw his arms forward. It was clearly a white shirt. We'd be talking about this a lot more if the quarterback would have had a different reaction. He just took it and went back to the huddle. If he would have squared up on Kirby Smart and he would have pushed Kirby Smart back, this would 1,000% been all over ESPN. I'm surprised it was not. But if he does react differently, I think we got a different situation. I think Kirby should be suspended. And if that quarterback would have reacted, he 1,000% would have been suspended, because you can't full arm flush somebody like that, and especially on the opposite team, and it being a player. If that was a player who did that to coach, he'd be suspended immediately. Nuts.
That was a hell of a climb there. That was a great answer, even after going after all that mayhem before you, Ty. I love it. Look,
I had to dial it in.
I think Sankey kind of handled it best. Is that, look, in my opinion, I think you're right too. If it would have gone more, if they would have reacted, maybe more would have came from it. But I think by the player walking away, and I think he called after the fact. I think it should have been addressed on the field. I think the ref should have stepped in, probably maybe thrown a flag like, hey, you can't be pushing the players. That's when it should have been addressed. I've never really been a big fan of going back after the fact and finding players, and suspending is different, but finding guys, like especially in the NBA and football for cleats and hits, like I hate that. Make it in the moment. Don't go back after the fact to affect it. So I've never been a huge fan of those things. But well, Blaine won. Does he want his 30 seconds of fame, Jake, or do you want to tell us where we can find you while you're here?
You want to do your 30 seconds of fame? He let you win like I asked him to before.
Yeah,
of course he wants his 30 seconds of fame. Hey, thanks for being a good friend, Sheldon.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Jake's pissed. Jake's never coming back on.
Make yourself comfortable.
Good, I will.
I think I'm 1-4. This is lame. I won the first ever one. I haven't won one since.
I mean, you should have carried me to the mic. I think it was better.
The quality.
Trumpets, or do I just start?
I'll pass it to you, but I think Jake. Hopefully, Jake comes back on after letting you win. Blaine, you might be the fill-in for Saturdays now that Jake's upset with me. But give me your. Yeah, go ahead. You just rock and roll, Blaine. It's all you, baby.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and act surprised. Some people are just born better. I believe that, and I was born better than my brother today. Let's all get excited about that. Thanks, guys, for so much for having me on. I'm pretty sure I was right about everything I said today. Definitely didn't mess up a single word or anything. Big ups to the boys. Alabama money line. Let's win some money.
I love it, Blaine. Tell them where they can find you, Blaine. You and Jake.
You can find us at Crane and Company. That's CRAIN Company. On YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Twitter at Blaine Crane. Jake, what's your handle? No one cares. Blaine Crane on X. That's me. Yeah, come check us out. We do it every day, fellas.
I love it. They had you second because they had to get it right. They got it wrong the first time. Is what they tell me.
Okay. Yep. They're right.
Right. Blaine, I appreciate you. Cowboy Ty, where can they find you, man? Here on High Top Sports every Monday, Saturday, and sometimes Wednesdays.
But they can find me here every single time, but I'm still sweating those Travis highlights underneath the bridge, man. I mean, after watching last night, us Florida State fans, we might not. I don't even know who we're going to be. I can't find a win on schedule. I can't find one. I mean, we're going to go 1-12. It's going to be impressive. I'm going.
Well, no, you won't. No, you won't go 1-12. You don't get bowl games and ACC championships. So you don't get that many games when you only win one game time.
We're going to have double-digit losses. How about that? We'll go with that.
Reality setting in. Yeah, you don't get so many games. That ring's going to be a little bit shorter this time. Okay, 1-10 or 1-11. I'm doing bad math. Boys and girls, ladies and gents, hope you guys enjoyed today's show, High Top Game Day. If you did, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. This show is brought to you by BetUS. Happy High Top Game Day. Happy College Game Day, boys and girls. We love you. See you next time. Like and subscribe. Peace and love, baby. What's going on?